Aditya, tell us what the state of play is right now. There are a lot of foreign powers keen to ensure this conflict doesn't spill beyond Israel's borders.
Well, at this moment, Sandeep, the world is divided like never before, at least in the last many decades. We've seen the division clearly at the United Nations as well. But there's a competitive zeal among some of the world leaders to be peaceniks in this entire process. And some of them, including Biden, Putin, Xi Jinping, and to an extent the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well, who've been speaking to both the sides, one, the Israeli Prime Minister and the Israeli diplomats, and on the other side, the Arab world, and in particular, Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority. And at least messaging, at least the narrative that these countries want to convey is that they stand with peace, even though they back one side or the other. The Russian president yesterday came out with a statement saying that he fully backs a full-fledged Palestinian state. Biden, on the other hand, wants to delay the war as much as possible. But as of now, the invasion continues, and it seems to be a long invasion, even though there are positive reports for Israel that some of the hostages have been released, at least 4 to 5 in number till now. Yesterday, there was an IDF soldier, Ori Megiddish, who was also released, and that was after an operation and not a deal. So, as of now, there are more than 240 hostages who are still in Gaza with Hamas, and that seems to be a big sticking point for this entire operation and the diplomatic negotiations.
Right. In fact, I was listening into this lecture by Professor Mearsheimer this morning, where he mentioned that the war in West Asia could delay the US pivot to Asia, which has been happening forever. Colonel Awasthi, do you think that China could take advantage of what's going on right now and make a grab for Taiwan? The US is already involved in 2 conflicts.
Sandeep, what you say is essentially correct. You know that the famous American pivot to Asia may be a little delayed now because of the 2 conflicts now, one in the West Asia and now the other one, which is already raging since February 2022 in Ukraine. However, I would reserve my opinion about the conflict insofar as the Chinese are concerned for the Taiwanese mainland because of 2 reasons. Firstly, we have to understand that Taiwan is a very, very important entity for the military-industrial complex in the United States of America. To just put you into perspective, a single Javelin weapon system consists of as much as 200 chips. So that's the amount of, the semiconductors or chips that we are talking about into a single weapon system, a Javelin weapon system. That's one. The second thing is you have to look at the very clear economic reasons. You have to understand that China is a very big trading partner also of Taiwan, so to say. And the third thing is there is reciprocal investment from the Taiwanese mainland into China and the Chinese investment into Taiwanese mainland. So at this juncture and with the present, set of problems that the Chinese themselves have, it may be a little far-fetched that, somebody takes advantage of such a thing. Yes, you are absolutely right as I look at it that yes, the pivot of the US has now essentially shifted from Asia, obviously because of these 2 raging conflicts.
They can't handle more than 2 conflicts at the same time.
Nobody can, actually. They themselves are very gruesome. Both of them are very gruesome. We are all aware of that.
Massive loss of life.
Massive loss
Aditya,
of
I
life.
want to talk to you about this because last week I remember asking you about how Israel was hell-bent on going in for the operation. You said, despite all that was going on around us, the talks of peace, Israel was going to go in. And the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said there's no ceasefire, they're just going in. Look into your crystal ball again and tell us whether China would actually make a play for Taiwan while the world is looking at West Asia and Eastern Europe.
Well, this seems to be the right time for it, but I doubt. I feel that the incursions from the Chinese will continue, the provocations will continue, just like they've been doing for years together, entering the air defense area of the Taiwanese. That will obviously continue and maybe that will increase. In the South China Sea also we'll see an increased activity, but I don't see either in Taiwan or on the the western side of the eastern side of our border in Galwan as well and the Chushul Moldi area. I don't see any much activity in the last many months also. I think there's been relative peace, negotiations also underway at the diplomatic level and the military level. But of course, the Chinese being Chinese will be, of course, hell-bent on provocations, incursions, both in India and in Taiwan. But at the same time, I see this Israel-Hamas conflict increasing by the day, just like the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister of Israel have mentioned, that the second stage of this, the second phase of this war will be for several months. So this is to eradicate the pockets of resistance in Gaza. And as you know, that there are many tunnels within Gaza, and it's difficult to eliminate these people inside the tunnels. Even though yesterday there was a very successful operation in which a tunnel was attacked through a rocket and a missile, and there were eliminations of the terrorists of Hamas
hiding inside those tunnels.
That's right.
Is that the first time that a tunnel has been directly attacked during this phase of the operation?
During this phase of the war, yes, but I think it has happened in the past as well, and it is difficult. You know, it's not like a tunnel, because we've seen tunnels, Sandeep, on this side in Jammu and Kashmir as well, where a lot of tunnels are used, and these are small tunnels.
They're crawl tunnels.
They're crawl tunnels,
like the Vietnamese tunnels.
For ammunition, for people to cross over. In fact, after the Jaish-e-Mohammed attacks in 2019, some of the Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists actually crossed over not from Pakistan to India, but to escape from India to Pakistan through those tunnels. But these tunnels that I have visited, you know, at the Israel-Gaza border, are well made. I mean, people can actually walk around it very happily, peacefully. They don't have to fear for their lives. There's a good lighting system. It's a concrete tunnel, and you can actually adjust a lot of equipment, a lot of humanitarian assistance inside these tunnels to actually withhold, you know, for many, many weeks.